thanks for joining us for Pet Entertainment Television. I'm Dennis Rosiak.
And I'm Mandy Maxwell.
And Mandy, who do we have here?
This handsome boy, his name is Trey. And he came to us several months back, originally after he had been abandoned by his family. And obviously, if you know anything about Shar-Peis, you'll know right away that he's got the signature Shar-Pei ears.
Yes.
Not quite as many wrinkles, his knee's probably a little bit bigger than a lot of Shar-Peis, but a lot of Shar-Pei, and we don't know what else he's mixed with.
Well, that's okay. We don't get a lot of Shar-Peis mixes or Shar-Peis into the Humane Society, so we're going to talk a little bit more about that. But you know, we should mention we're at Dog Days, right? And that's at 15310 Harriman Boulevard in Noblesville, Indiana. So 773-4500 is the phone number, area code 317.
Yeah, and we've got a really good show today. You'll notice that all of our animals that are on the show, all the dogs and the cat, have a common theme, and that is that they are all black. And there is a method to our madness this morning.
Right.
So there's a reason that we wanted to bring all black animals on today. There are some statistics, first and foremost, that we wanted to give out just about, shelters in general and, the animals that come into shelters. And while I want to say that our shelter is a lot different, generally speaking, across the United States, only 15% of dogs, and there goes Trey, only 15% of dogs are reunited with their owners.
Yeah.
And about 60%, unfortunately. So over half of animals in most shelters are actually euthanized, unfortunately. Come here, handsome.
Yeah. And it was only 25% of the dogs entering the shelter are lucky enough to get adopted.
Yeah, only 25%. And I'm happy to say that at our shelter, we've actually got about a 95-96% placement rate. So we are far above most shelters across the United States. But there's a reason, like I said, that we're bringing on all black animals on the shelter today, and that's because that I don't know what percentage, but of that 60% of animals that are euthanized, in shelters nationwide, I wish I knew a percentage, but there is a majority of them that would tend to be black dogs and cats.
Right.
And there is a reason for that. While there's not been any, formal research done on the topic, we think that there are some reasons. So we want to talk about a couple of those reasons on the show today.
Yeah.
So, he's showing off, he's like, hey, what's going to get me adopted?
Well, and when you look at, the Shar-Pei as far as the breed goes itself, they're, kind of like perimeter guard dogs. They were originally, the Chinese believed that their skull, that basically it would scare off evil spirits.
Right. Well, and I thought that was interesting, too, that they were talking about the black tongue.
Yes.
And that was supposed to be like something that scared off the evil spirits as well. So, like their facial features and everything. So it's so funny. And Trey is, whatever he's mixed with, he's definitely not your typical Shar-Pei.
Right.
He is amazing with kids, great with other dogs. He actually lived in foster with cats as well.
Yep.
So this is a guy that literally could go home with any kind of family, any situation would be great for him. He does have a lot of energy, even though he's actually about 7 or 8 years old.
Yeah, which is surprising because of his age. But it says that he's one that still needs a lot of exercise. But he did well on all of his tests. As I'm looking at the sheets here, I mean, there's nothing that he didn't do well on.
He's a scholar. What can we say?
Yes.
And he knows how to sit and shake. Now show him. Speak. Yeah, that's a good boy. He'll sit, shake, lay down, speak, stay.
He's real good at that speak stuff.
He's a good boy. What can we say?
Yeah. So, I mean, basically, looks like, he could go home pretty much with anybody.
Yep, absolutely. Kids would be fantastic. So
yeah. So again, today we're going to talk more about the black dog syndrome and just kind of give you some of the stats and everything and why they might be overlooked, but they shouldn't be because this is a fantastic dog right here.
Exactly. And unfortunately for him, he's already been with us for several months. So I think that a lot of people do have the black dog syndrome. So we're going to hopefully inform all of you guys today of why you should go out and adopt a black dog or cat, that there's nothing wrong with them. And there he goes again. So we'll be back with some more information, right?
We'll be right back.
Please take me to Dog Days. Your dog will beg you to take him to Dog Days, Playhouse, and Retreat. It's loads of fun for your pet, and you'll have the peace of mind knowing he's in good hands. You can even peek in on what's happening at any time during the day with Doggy Webcam. Whether you need doggy day camp, boarding, grooming, or training, Dog Days gives your pooch the pampering he deserves. Give us a call, 773-4500, or check us out on the web, please.
Well, we're back, and we've got Molly with us now.
Yes, this is Molly. She is just beautiful. I love her crazy big ears. Look at those suckers. I mean, she can hear anything from like 25 miles away with those radars.
I think you're right.
And she's young. She's about 2 years old. She just came to the shelter a couple of weeks ago. So we're hoping she doesn't wait as long as most black dogs do to get adopted. So, and I think those big ears are quite charming. So I'm hoping she doesn't wait as long as any others. But another active girl, you know, it's funny because Trey, even though he was a little bit older, you could tell, you know, he's still got a lot of energy.
Yes, definitely.
And Molly's young and she's got a lot of energy. So really, it's just proof that we've got everything and anything you could want at the shelter. But,
yeah, and again, that Molly's kind of a representative of the many black dogs that we have at the shelter, because I think we have 4 black labs alone.
Yeah.
And just a lot of dogs that are black.
And it's weird, and that's why we decided to do this show on black animals today, is because I was talking to one of our volunteers last week, and he had a dog, and I'm like, man, I cannot keep all these black dogs straight.
Right.
He was like, yeah, as I'm walking through, you know, walking dogs, we have so many black dogs, and we thought, you know what I mean? That is a great topic to talk about, you know, because there are some theories behind, you know, why there are so many and why they wait so long. So what are some of those theories that people have?
Well, I think one of the ones that they're concerned about is that in the movies, they're always portrayed as the bad dog. So when you look at some of the movies that were out there, like Beethoven, the St. Bernard, of course, was the good guy.
Right.
And the Dobermans were the bad guys.
Right.
And they, of course, are black, right?
Right, exactly. And for her, I mean, she's almost got like a double whammy against her because she's black.
Yep.
Well, let's say 3. She's black, she's bigger,
Yes.
she's not a small dog,
Yep.
and she's got some pity in her, we think. So
Right.
that's three strikes against her, unfortunately, because people don't take the time to really understand.
Yeah, well, you know, and when you look at the black dogs too, I did some research, and we both did, on this subject, and the color itself, that people are drawn to colors. So when there's light colors, multicolors, they're automatically drawn to them.
Right.
Whereas when these guys are in the kennel, they might be overlooked just because they are black, where in
Right.
turn you don't see their facial expressions, things like that. So we need to really look at those things. So when you're coming into the shelter, that they should look at how do they react, what's their facial expressions and
Right.
such, and not just ignore them because they are black, just by they go away kind of.
Right, exactly. Well, and the other thing that we both found out in doing a little bit of research was that they're, like you said, you know, talking about their facial features, but it's harder to see them in pictures.
Yeah.
And like you said, people really want to see the expression on dogs' faces, especially when you're walking through the shelter and there's, you know, over 100 dogs. They want to see those facial features and see the expressions on their face, whereas sometimes for the black dogs, it kind of gets lost in the color, you know?
You're exactly
and
right.
And pictures on websites, I think oftentimes on websites, they're just kind of, people just sort of scroll over their picture because they don't see all of that. So you really just have to take the time to get to know the dog, and don't just pass by them. You know, just because they're big black dogs, or
Yeah.
just because they're black dogs doesn't mean that they're aggressive. That was the other thing that we found out, was that
In the
people,
movies, they're
in
portrayed
the
as
movies,
aggressive.
they're portrayed like that, so people tend to think that when they're walking through the shelter, oh gosh, big black dog equals big mean dog that's gonna, you know, run and chase me away, and that's so
Yeah.
not the case. So
Yeah, so again, Molly would be an excellent choice, and you should stop up to the shelter and talk to all the people there about Molly, because Molly is definitely one that you should take a look at. So stay tuned, we have more dogs coming.
we'll be back.
Please take me to Dog Days.
Your dog will beg you to take him to Dog Days, Playhouse, and Retreat. It's loads of fun for your pet, and you'll have the peace of mind knowing he's in good hands. You can even peek in on what's happening at any time during the day with Doggy Webcam. Whether you need doggy day camp, boarding, grooming, or training, Dog Days gives your pooch the pampering he deserves.
Give us a call, 773-4500, or check us out on the web, please.
Well, we're back, and we've got Cody, and Cody is representative for the Labs.
Yes, because Lord knows we got enough black lab and black lab mixes sitting at the shelter right now. Four of them, in fact, I think is what you counted out, right, Dennis?
Exactly, yeah, and that's pretty incredible, especially for having Labs be there, because Labs, as you know, are really the number one dog, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And Cody is no different than any of the other ones that are sitting there. He is somewhere around 5 to 7 years old, probably, and just a super laid-back kind of guy. He is a little bit more selective about the other dogs that he likes. Unfortunately, he had a bad family life growing up, and he was the only dog for quite some time. And then the family ended up bringing another dog into the home, and they were butting heads, and so they unfortunately banished Cody to the garage where he lived for several months until they decided that they just wanted to get rid of him totally and brought him to the shelter. So now he's with us, and he's been with us for several months now. But it's again one of those situations where he's better off with us, because we're going to find him a family that we know is going to love him forever.
Yeah, because when dogs don't get along, it's just like people. There can be personality conflicts that come into play, and I think that's some of the things that happen. And it also might be the fact that Cody's a little bit older, that a younger dog that's in their face and things like that, they don't appreciate that, right?
He doesn't really go for that.
Yeah.
But he has been around a couple of dogs at the shelter that are a little bit more his speed,
right?
And he does okay with them. So and that's exactly why we do meet and greets, why we have everybody meet before anybody goes home. But he loves to go for a walk. He loves to ride in the car. He got a little bit depressed there for a while at the shelter, so I will say he likes McDonald's sausage McMuffins. And I think he's had a couple of Arby's roast beef sandwiches here and there, so I'm just saying. And he likes to swim. He's just such a great boy. So, and of course, another black dog sitting at the shelter getting overlooked every day. So we certainly don't want that to happen any longer. Yeah,
and so, if you have, for our audience, if you have anyone that's looking for a dog, don't, discount the black dogs that are out there,
right?
Because we've got plenty at the shelter, and they're all good dogs. And talk to the staff, right? Because each one's a little bit different, and each one's got a little different personality, and the personality is key, just as we said. And understanding what type of dog you already have, what their demeanor is, to make sure that are they going to work good with Cody or any of the other black dogs, right?
Right, exactly. And we've got a couple of events coming up that I want to make sure we always get talking about everybody else, and I forget to mention our events. So we have 2 events coming up this weekend. Well, we'll be at the Fisher's Farmers Market at the Pet Day. But aside from that, the Hamilton Town Shopping Center is doing an event this weekend called Touch a Truck, where they have invited several organizations throughout the community that all have vehicles, like we have our Humane Society van. And so the purpose is for people in our community to come out and really get to know all these different organizations. So we'll have adoptable dogs out there, and it's a chance for people to, touch the truck and touch the organization and learn about the organization. So
that's a great event.
That's on Saturday from 11 to 2 at the Hamilton Shopping Center, and then we're also going to be at the Kohl's, which is right by the shelter, right there on 37 here in Noblesville, from 1 to 5 for Hare Chevrolet is doing, I think it's their 2nd annual Camaro rally.
Cool.
So they're going to have several vendors out there, tons of Camaros, and what they're doing is Hare Chevrolet has partnered up with the Tony Stewart Foundation to raffle off a Camaro and give it away, raffle it off at the end of the year, and a portion of the proceeds will go to the shelter. So tickets are $25, raffle tickets are $25, and you can go online to order your raffle tickets, and you have to select the Humane Society as your charity of choice. So we'll be at the Kohl's from 1 to 5 on Saturday as well for the Camaro Rally. So we'll be out there with some adoptables. And Cody might be at one of those events. So if you want to meet Cody, come and see us. Or if you want to meet any of just a handful, I guess, of the wonderful animals that we have, stop and see us this weekend at any of our events. Or, of course, come to the shelter.
Absolutely. Well, stay tuned. We've got our cat representative coming.
We'll be right back.
Please take me to Dog Days. Your dog will beg you to take him to Dog Days Playhouse and Retreat. It's loads of fun for your pet, and you'll have the peace of mind knowing he's in good hands. You can even peek in on what's happening at any time during the day with Doggy Webcam. Whether you need doggy day camp, boarding, grooming, or training, Dog Days gives your pooch the pampering he deserves. Give us a call, 773-4500, or check us out on the web, please.
Well, we're back, and it's time for the kitties, and today we've got Baldwin.
Yes, nothing like Alec Baldwin or his brothers. I think he's much more handsome, actually.
Yeah.
But this is Baldwin, yes, and he came to us about a little over a month ago as a stray, like so many. But he is our representative for all of the black cats today. So,
yes.
Of course, going along with our theme of black animals, I chose him to come and hang out with us today. He's, if I didn't already mention, he's about 3 years old. Super easygoing.
Yeah.
I mean, what else can I say about this guy? He's been chilling in his crate, hanging out over here, watching all the dogs on the show. Several customers have come in with their dogs, and
Never even flinched.
Never even flinched. Not even a muscle. So this is a good cat. So I would say, you know what? Maybe he could even go home with a family that had dogs at home. Kids, I don't think would be an issue. I mean, he literally is so easygoing.
Yeah. Now, we have a lot of black cats, and of course the black cats always get overlooked just because of the superstitions that are out there in the past. And,
Right.
you know, you don't see as many of those today, obviously, but still it's something that people are concerned about. And,
Right.
and
Absolutely. That what is it if they cross your path? And Stu, you know, our camera guy was just saying you're supposed to make an X, and that
Right.
crosses out all the bad stuff that the black cat just brought to you by crossing your path. But I gotta tell you, if this little guy crossed my path,
Yeah.
I'd be happy. You know, I mean, he's such a great cat, and just like all the dogs, they get overlooked so many times for all the same reasons.
Yeah.
You know, their facial features. In some of the research that we were reading about, it was talking about, you know, especially for the black cat, like all black body, and then those eyes,
The eyes,
those golden
right.
eyes. And Baldwin's kind of got more of like green eyes, but
They're big
those
and-
just kind of staring back at you, you know, and,
Yeah.
and they can look kind of scary. And
Yeah.
but you know, they're so not. I mean, they're just like any other cat. There's no difference between Baldwin and Ben, the big orange, you know, orange tabby that we had on a couple weeks ago, or, you know, so
That's right.
there is nothing wrong. There's no bad vibes, no evil spirits that are oozing out of Baldwin right now. I haven't been possessed or anything like that. So.
Well, you know, actually, it actually says in the proverbial cat, it says, you will always be lucky if you know how to make friends with strange cats.
There you
So
go.
that kind of negates any of the others.
There you go.
Because we have a lot of cats that are a stranger to you. So
Right,
you know
right.
what? This will be a perfect situation to get a black cat at the Humane Society.
Absolutely. Don't wait till Halloween. That's the big thing. Everybody
Yeah.
wants a black cat at Halloween. Get one now. And speaking of getting a cat, don't forget that we're still having Purse Days.
Okay.
So if you remember, there's no more Thursdays at the shelter. We have turned all Thursdays into Purse Days. So we do half off adoption fees for any cat or kitten in the entire shelter.
Right.
So and it's usually $37.50 to be exact. So and of course that still includes their spay or neuter, all of their vaccines, their microchip, the whole 9 yards. So you really
Right.
just cannot go wrong
Which
with that.
you absolutely can't go wrong with that at all. And so, and we've got a lot of cats and kittens up there again, as usual at this time of year, right?
We do, because of course we're in the middle of kitten season, so we've got a lot of pregnant moms, we've got a lot of babies that have been found without their mom, some of them that still need to be bottle fed, a lot of them out in foster that will be coming back from foster that are
Right.
available for adoption. So really, if you have ever thought about getting a cat, don't wait another minute. Now's the time. We have so many wonderful ones, just like Baldwin and the others that we've had on recent shows. We just have so many cats at the shelter right now.
So, Mandy, maybe we should remind everybody how to get a hold of us.
Yeah, we've got, of course, our website, HamiltonHumane.com, our Facebook page, Facebook.com/HamiltonHumane.
Okay.
You can swing by the shelter at 1721 Pleasant Street. We are right beside the Hamilton County Fairgrounds. And then, of course, our phone number is 773-4974. So all kinds of ways to find us, or stop out at the events this weekend.
That's right.
And really just stop by. We just have so many. We could sit here all day long and never get through all the amazing animals that we have at the shelter. So
Right.
really just stop by.
Cool. Well, stay tuned. We've got one more segment.
Yep, we'll be right back.
Please, please take me to Dog Days. Your dog will beg you to take him to Dog Days Playhouse and Retreat. It's loads of fun for your pet, and you'll have the peace of mind knowing he's in good hands. You can even peek in on what's happening at any time during the day with Doggy Webcam. Whether you need doggy day camp, boarding, grooming, or training, Dog Days gives your pooch the pampering he deserves. Give us a call, 773-4500, or check us out on the web, please.
Well, we're back, and it's our favorite part of the show, and where are they now to talk about who got adopted, who didn't get adopted, because we need to get the ones that didn't get adopted homes, right?
Exactly. And unfortunately, and by the way, Baldwin decided to hang out with us for this segment because he's doing so good. I didn't want to put him back in his crate.
Well, it's so unusual, too, that, a kitty will sit there, a cat will sit there forever.
Oh, my gosh.
In this environment.
Yeah, totally. He's just chilling. So, again, please note, perfect little cat, Mr.
That's
Baldwin.
right. Okay, so let's go down the list of who got adopted.
Unfortunately, it's a short list this week, which makes me sad. But I will say, literally, when we walked in the doors last Tuesday, it was when we got back, Amira, the boxer, went home.
Wow.
It was so funny. I swear they were like waiting for us.
It was just perfect.
As soon as we got back, the family had been to the shelter several times looking for just the right dog.
Yeah.
And sure enough, we walk in the door with Amira, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, that is a dog for us." So she's living. They have 3 little girls.
It's
so,
perfect.
Yeah, she's going to be living the good
Especially
life.
for a boxer.
Yeah.
I mean, to have that, type of scenario.
Yep.
And then we had our Akita.
Right, Miss Leia, Princess Leia, if you will. She got adopted. So excited for her. I mean, really, honestly, Akitas, they kind of have a bit of a reputation.
Yeah.
And she obviously was not your typical Akita. So I'm so glad that she did not wait for a long time to find a home. What a great girl.
So, unfortunately, I think that's our list for who got
list.
adopted, which means that we've got a lot of dogs and cats that have not been adopted.
Yes.
So let's kind of talk about each one of them. Pearl, which is our white pit bull that has been there forever.
90-pound lap dog that licked our face to death. Yeah, Pearl's still there. As is Princess, our other lap dog that wanted to lick you to death and play ball all the time. So those 2 are still there looking for homes.
Yeah, one of my favorites, Atticus, who's a great dog, and I can't imagine why. Another boxer again, why Atticus hasn't got a home, I don't know.
I don't know either. So he's still there. Thankfully, he's got one of our volunteers who is dedicated to just really taking care of Atticus, and so she spends a lot of extra time with him.
Yeah,
so he gets some extra TLC.
Yeah, and a lot of training. So he's really come a long way.
Yes.
So in turn, you're going to get a dog that has got all that advanced training.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay, so Thelma and Louise are still in ISO yet?
Oh, they are still sick. I think it's one of those, when your cold just lingers and it just hangs on, and you just still got that little bit of hack. That is apparently what's going on with the girls, because you better believe I ask every day. What about Thelma and Louise? What about Thelma and Louise?
So we probably need a foster home maybe even that would help out in that scenario.
It
So
would
maybe
be great.
if anyone out there is interested in fostering Thelma and Louise, that would be fantastic.
Would be fantastic.
And they're Jack Russells again?
Right, or rat terriers.
Rat terriers,
yeah,
that's
little
right.
rat terriers. Yep, sisters though, but they do need to go together.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we got that. Pacer.
I'm not doing a dance, am I?
And we want to see Mandy dance. So in turn, we need to get Pacer.
I know.
Every day I look at Pacer and I look at, he's been there since 2009.
I know.
Which is
awful.
Awful.
Yes,
and he's such a good dog. I can't believe it.
Yeah, it's not right.
Okay, Quincy.
Quincy's still available for adoption. The lovable pity that we had on last week. Such a good boy. So he's still looking for a home.
Yeah, so we've got Daisy Marie.
And Daisy Marie, she's still waiting. And don't forget, she is the dog that we had on several weeks ago that has heartworm disease. So we really have got to find our foster home so we can start that treatment.
Yeah. And then Buddy and Rocky aren't foster yet, so they still need homes.
Yep, they still are looking for their forever homes, but thankfully they're in foster where they're not at the shelter, and Rocky can start going through his heartworm treatment.
Right, exactly. And then Dash is here.
Dash is staying, of course, here at Dog Days with Abby as well. We had Abby, the Shepherd mix, on a couple weeks ago.
That's right.
And so they are both both still here looking
Okay.
for families. Yep.
And then let's talk about our kitties. We've got Sophia.
Sophia was our senior girl, one
Yes.
of the golden girls, and she is still available for adoption.
Okay, and then we had Perry.
Perry we had on last week, and he is
Mm-hmm.
still available as well. And then we had one of my favorite boys, Ben, the orange
Yeah,
tabby.
that's right.
And he's still looking for a home too. So we've
Wow.
got lots of babies that are still desperately seeking homes. So
Well, again, if anybody out there is looking for some of these great dogs and cats that we have, I mean, that we just mentioned, I mean, it's we really would like to find them a home. Obviously, they've been at the shelter way too long.
yeah, exactly. So again, there's never, it's kind of like those Goodwill commercials, you know, there's never a better time to donate to Goodwill. There's never a better time to adopt a dog or cat from the Humane Society for Hamilton County.
Absolutely, and again, don't forget about all the black cats and the black
Yeah.
dogs that we have, and we really want to find them homes
Yep.
because they are tougher to find homes for, but they are great.
No different than
Animals.
any other animal. So hopefully,
Yeah.
we shed some light on the situation.
Yeah.
Do not let yourself get black animal syndrome.
That's
Don't
right.
do it.
Well, thanks for joining us today at Dog Days, and again, stop up to the Humane Society and stop and see the great pets that we have up there and adopt.
Yep. And
Take
we'll
care.
be back next week with
Yeah.
another good show.
Bye.